Hi everybody, it's Deborah Morgan with Kids Health Revolution, coming to you with another video on everyday meals, real food, whole food, gut healthy food, all kinds of goodness that is going to help you on your journey to recovering your child's health, or for that matter, your own health. So today we are making a celery root fry or roasted celery roots. So we're going to cut them into wedges like this and then roast them in the oven, and they are super tasty. They're full of fiber, all kinds of good vitamins and minerals in there, way more nutrient dense than your average potato would be, and they still give you a good tasty sort of starch that you can use with a meal. So to start off with, if you haven't seen a celery root, it looks like this little puppy here. So it's sometimes called celeriac, but also called celery root. So it's kind of a hairy, funny looking thing. And the most time consuming part of this is probably peeling the celery root. It's a little bit picky, but once you get the hang of it, it doesn't have to take a super long time. So I'm just going to demonstrate that for you. So you're going to cut off this gnarly little sort of head and just get rid of that. It seems like you're wasting quite a bit, but it's really hard. I've tried to get in there and get all those picky bits out. I don't have the patience for it. If you do, go for it. And then we're just going to cut off that end as well. So again, if you're a super detailed person and you have the patience for it, you could use a peeler and just go in and peel like you would a potato. But there's these hairy, tough little bits. Makes it hard to get around, you can see. So I much prefer just to use my knife. And I go in on an angle with my knife. You need a pretty sharp knife to do this, and just cut around this way. I'm losing maybe a little bit more flesh than I would if I use the peeler, but not a lot more, as long as my knife is nice and sharp. And it just takes so much less time. It's so much quicker to do. And really, when we're talking about getting in the kitchen, we want to save time, right? Because we're all so busy. It's hard enough to get us into the kitchen to make a meal as it is, let alone spending hours trying to peel a hairy, ugly little celery root. So then we're pretty good. We've just got some stuff left around the side there. So I'm just going to go kind of around with my knife. And you know, hey, my knife skills are no top chef here. I'm not doing Gordon Ramsay any sort of favors in my demonstration of my knife skills here, but they work. I'm a home cook and I get stuff done. So we're just going to scrape that off the board. Sometimes I like to just give it a bit of a wipe with a paper towel, because you get a few of those little celery hairs on there that you don't really want on your finished product. So there it is. That's what it looks like when it's all peeled up. It looks pretty much like a potato, right? Really large potato. So I kind of go in and just cut it into large wedges like so. Yep. Okay, so we're looking for about that thick. Okay, you don't get too carried away with worrying about it. You just want to get them as evenly cut as you can so that they cook evenly at the same time. So I usually take 2 or 3 in a pile together, and then I just cut them into wedges. So you're looking at, I don't know, what would that be? 1/2 inch for your wedge. And then you put them onto a cookie sheet. So I've already got these laid out on the cookie sheet. You want them fairly evenly spread out. You don't want to have them all piled up on top of each other. Otherwise they kind of steam more than they roast in this process. So what we're going to put on here, I like to use a little bit of duck fat for this, because I think it just gives such a wonderful unctuous taste. Sort of a heaping teaspoon like this. You could use coconut fat or coconut oil. You could use ghee or butter if you're able to tolerate the dairy. You could even use a little bit of olive oil. Make sure that it's not extra virgin olive oil, that it's actually a cooking olive oil. Avocado oil would work for you as well if you're trying to, if there's some reason that you need to avoid the saturated fats. A little bit of this kind of saturated fat is really fine, unless you have some sort of genetic issue with producing too much cholesterol. Other than that, you really wouldn't need to worry about it. Okay, and make sure again that you're getting your duck fat. I get mine from the farmer's market. I know it's a really clean source. They're pasture raised, all of that good stuff. They're not getting animal byproducts in their feed. All of that's really important when it comes to using fats from animals, because the fat stores toxins. So you want to make sure that you're getting a really clean source of those fats. Okay, just going to wipe my hands off a little bit here. And we're going to season these. Now, you can use just plain old salt and pepper. My hands are still a little bit greasy. Normally, I'd probably wash them in the sink, but you know, just so that I don't have to stop the video and restart it, we're just going to go with this. So, fresh ground pepper is all I'm throwing on here with some salt. You could put a little garlic powder on. You could put some onion powder on there. If you want to make them spicy, you can throw on a little bit of paprika, and I like a chipotle powder on them. Tastes really good as well. Herbs make a nice addition. Good healthy pinch of salt. So I'd make a big pinch of salt for about half the pan, and then another good pinch of salt for the other half of the pan. These guys will take quite a lot of salt without it being overdone. So I've just salted one side of them for now. And once you turn them over, when they're in the pan, you can resalt the other side, or you can toss them around now and add a little bit more salt. However you prefer to do it. I like to keep it easy. Just do one side, throw it in the oven, and then at the point where I'm checking them and turning them, then I just sprinkle a little bit more salt and pepper on them. So they're good to go. We're going to pop them in the oven, preheated to 375 degrees. Okay, so these have been in the 375 degree oven for about 20 minutes, and I'm not sure if you can see it very well, so let me just kind of get that a little closer to my little camera there. They're starting to shrivel up a little bit, shrinking in size, and they are starting to brown a little bit. So we're just gonna go in and turn them really quickly. Now, you don't have to be so particular about this if you don't want to. As you can see, they are starting to brown on the top even without having to be turned over, but we're going to be detail oriented. I am not always detail oriented, and it's okay. Sometimes I throw these in the oven and I just let them cook on the one side, and then I'll throw them on broil for a minute or two just to brown the top, and that takes no time at all. So if I'm in a real rush to get dinner on the table or something else is going on, then I'll use that method. It's all good, whatever works, as long as we're getting a home-cooked meal on the table and it tastes good in the end. Whatever method gets it there is all good to me. Almost there. Okay, and this is my chance then to go in and just give them a little bit of a sprinkle more with salt. Another big healthy pinch of salt. I see that guy's still got some pepper, so I didn't turn him. There we go. They're not that hot, so my fingers are okay. If you like pepper, throw a little extra on there. If you know your kids aren't particular about black pepper, then just skip that and go with the salt. So we're going to throw those back into the oven. Again, still 375 degrees for probably about another 15 minutes. And then they are done, nice and golden and toasty and really super tasty. So we'll show those to you when they come out. Okay, so here we go. They are out of the oven and nice and golden brown. They shriveled up nicely, so they dehydrated a little bit, and they're going to be super tasty. So I just take the parchment paper and pour them onto a plate. So this is one celery root, and if I was making this for a meal for 4 people, I would probably use 2 celery roots. So I would do 2 cookie sheets in the oven so that we make sure that everybody gets a nice serving of these. So I would serve these with any kind of meat, with a stew, with a steak, fish, lamb, anything that you like, as well as some kind of green vegetables. So you could do broccoli, or you could do a salad, or you could do Brussels sprouts, whatever turns your crank. But the beauty about something like this is it gives you that sort of starchiness that you might be looking for, that sort of carby feel, but you're actually getting a vegetable. And I know that a lot of people struggle with this idea of how to get, 5 to 6 servings of vegetables into themselves, let alone their kids. And this is a great way to think about it. If you use vegetables in place of your usual starches, like rice or pasta or things like that, then you're getting vegetables at the same time as your starch. So if you serve this, half a cup of this and some broccoli, you've got 2 good servings of vegetables right there in one meal. Okay, you could serve a little bit of salad of it and bump it up a little bit more even, or some chopped up bell peppers or something like that. So it's really not that challenging to get those servings of vegetables in every day. So there you go. Those are the nice celery root, roasted celery root fries, or roasted celery, whatever you want to call them. Because sometimes, here's the thing, sometimes when we try and say these are fries to a kid who's used to normal fries, they're going to reject it because it tastes yummy, but it doesn't taste like a regular fry. So sometimes just saying what it is, roasted celery root, instead of trying to say it's fries, because sometimes they'll bite it and that's not a fry, and that'll turn them off, right? So wherever you are with your child and their eating habits, these make a tasty addition to any lunch or dinner. I hope you enjoy it. And if you try out the recipe and you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, or email me as always at Deborah, DEBORAH, at Kids Health Revolution. I look forward to seeing you again.